Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared and Ready podcast. I'm Siddharth Nara, and if you listen to episode 1, you probably noticed something is missing today. Yeah, Ethan is not here, so today's episode is a solo one. Just me, a mic, and a topic I actually care a lot about. Today, we're talking about something most people never expect to deal with, but almost everyone eventually will. Being a bystander in a medical emergency. Not firefighters, not EMTs, not doctors. Regular people, just like you. I want to picture this for a second. You're at a school, or at a game, or at a mall, and someone nearly comes up to you and suddenly collapses. They're not responding, people freeze, some step back. Someone says, "Did anyone call 911?" And for about 10 seconds, nothing happens. Those 10 seconds matter. That's what this episode is entirely about. Through our HOSA partnership with the Loudoun Medical Reserve Corps, we've done presentations and training around emergency response skills. Things like CPR awareness, AED use, and stop the bleed. And one thing that keeps coming over and over, is this idea that emergencies are rare or that someone else will handle it. But the reality is simple. The first person on scene almost is never a professional. It's always a bystander. One thing that Loudoun MRC really emphasizes is that preparedness is not about being fearless. It's about being functional under pressure. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to know enough to act. Because in a real emergency, doing something imperfect is usually better than doing nothing. Let's talk about cardiac arrest for a second. If someone goes into sudden cardiac arrest, survival drops by about 10% for every minute without CPR or defibrillation. Ambulances don't arrive in 1 minute. Bystanders are the bridge between collapse and care. That's why the MRC pushes CPR and AED education so hard. Not because everyone wants to be a hero, but because communities with trained bystanders save more lives. It's data-backed. It's proven. Another example is severe bleeding. Uncontrolled bleeding can kill someone in under 5 minutes. 5. And yet, a tourniquet or even direct pressure applied early can completely change the outcome. The Loudoun MRC trains volunteers on Stop the Bleed for this exact reason. Not just mass casualty events, everyday stuff, such as car accidents, construction injuries, sports injuries too. Things that happen more often than we think. What stood out to me during our presentations was how many students said the same thing afterward. I didn't know I was allowed to help, or something on terms of that standard. That sentence matters. People think they'll mess it up or get in trouble or makes things worse in one way, so they just freeze. Preparedness breaks that freeze. When you know the steps, your brain has something to grab onto. Check responsiveness, or call 911s, or compressions, using AED perhaps. Those steps create momentum, and momentum saves lives. See, this episode isn't about telling you to become an expert. It's about shifting how you see yourself in an emergency. You're not just a bystander, you're the first link in the chain of survival. That's language that MRC uses a lot, and it sticks. Because chains break when links don't act. Another thing we talked about in our presentations is accessibility. AEDs exist. They're everywhere. Schools, gyms, airports. But people don't use them because they're scared. Here's your truth. AEDs talk to you. They don't shock unless needed. They're designed for untrained people. Doing nothing is a way bigger risk. The Loudoun MRC spends a lot of time correcting these myths because misinformation costs time, and time costs lives. I also want to talk about age for a second. A lot of students think, I'm too young to matter in an emergency. That's wrong. Teenagers are often the fastest to respond because they're already there, at school, at sports, at events. Prepare students turn schools into safer places. That's one reason HOSA and the MRC partnership works so well. It brings public health training to people early before hesitation becomes habit. This episode connects directly to what we're doing all year, the trainings, the presentations, the outreach, not because every listener will face an emergency tomorrow, but because when it happens, you won't be starting from zero. Now, I want to hear from you. In the description of this episode, there's a Google form linked. It's short, it's anonymous, and it helps guide what we talk about next. We need a lot of responses, not just for the podcast, but so we understand what students and community members actually feel prepared for and what they don't. Your input shapes future episodes, future trainings, and future outreach with the Loudoun MRC, or Medical Reserve Corps. It takes 2 minutes max. It matters though. And before I wrap up, here's the takeaway I want you to remember. Preparedness is not about confidence. It's about readiness. You don't rise to the occasion in emergencies. You fall back on what you know. So learn something worth falling back on. Thanks for listening to episode 2 of Prepared and Ready. Ethan will be back next time, assuming his vacation does not permanently change him. And until then, stay safe, stay aware, and stay ready.